Hi, folks. Steve Glenn here from BeSmartPrepping.com. This is going to be the first of a number of video blogs that I'm going to do. And some of them will be a bit more prepared than others. I'll probably include some diagrams and figures and maybe get a little bit technical from time to time um, because I think they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. So sometimes it's easier to show you something rather than try to explain it. um, and we'll do some other things as well. But in this particular video, my focus is on something that you will want to learn and apply to yourself every day once we're in a shit hits the fan situation. Okay? And it's this: don't let things get out of hand. Don't let things get out of hand. All right, so what do I mean by that? In our society today, we get complacent. We get comfortable with the fact that we've got pharmacies, we've got hospitals, we've got clinics, we've got doctors, we've got dentists, we've got Rite Aid, Walgreens, Super Walmart. We've got healthcare. We've got Blue Cross and Blue Shield, or some other company. Uh, but my point is those services may not be around. Okay. And also, stores may not be open for a while they're trying to figure the currency situation out, or they may be overrun, and there's just there's only about three or 4 days worth of stuff in there, and then they're pretty much emptied. So the things that you might want to have on hand, a bunch of, uh, here for example, some hand sanitizer, right? For those of you that have kids, once we're in a shit it's a fan situation, when you bring anything into the house at all, from wherever you've been, whatever you're doing, whether it be Lowe's or Walmart or a friend's yard or whatever, when you or the children come into the house, the first thing you need to do is get rid of all of the germs that you might have picked up along the way. Okay? So sanitation, hygiene, important. Okay, much more important than it would be otherwise. Because, like I said, you can't let things get out of hand. What could be a little scrape, for example, on somebody's arm, could turn into an infection. And then that infection, I've had some nasty infections, folks. Uh, the last one I battled took probably 9 months to a year to get licked. And it was on my leg. I had went in for IVs. I was taking antibiotic boosters. I had to take special medicine not to wipe out all the bacteria in my system from the antibiotics. So you don't want to get to that point, right? Now, I had scratched my leg. This is perfect example. I was out in the garage. We got a lot of stuff out there. We're in transition right now into where we want to be for retirement and into the future, whatever that may be. And I scraped my leg on something in the garage, and I did take care of it. What I should have done is I should have cleaned the wound out real good. Just put some. This is antibiotic cream, and I got a few of them laying around here. But you know, you keep these things around. In fact, I went online, uh, and not that I'm doing a product thing right now, but I bought a whole bunch of that stuff. Okay, antibiotic cream. Somebody gets a little scrape on them, you put that antibiotic cream and stuff on it. Wash doing real good. Put some antibiotic cream on it. If you got some band-aids, put a little band-aid on it. If you don't have band-aids, get some gauze and stuff on there. Get that skin protected. Your skin is a really great barrier between you and all little things that want to get in there and screw you up. So when we get breaks in the skin, that's not good. Things like rubbing alcohol kind of burns. Hydrogen peroxide. If there's a little bit of infection in a wound in the skin or something, you put hydrogen peroxide on it, you'll see it sort of start frothing up with lots of little white bubbles. That's that hydrogen peroxide killing off the infection in there. And of course, that tells you that there is infection in there. So you have to keep on top of that. If you have not, got fish antibiotics, I could go. You pull a fish antibiotic out. You look at the tablet. Go to a drug, book online or what you can buy. It's the exact same thing that they prescribe, to people, even though it says they're not for human consumption. There may be some little differences in packaging or something like that, but it's essentially the same medicine, And so it's in a little cellulite gel capsule in the same way. But anyway, try to get some of that stuff. You get an infection, and try not to get infections. So you tell the kids, if you get a scratch, a little scrape somewhere, I want you to tell me about it. Okay, always, because we're going to clean it up, take care of it, because it could make you sick. And if you have to discipline a little bit and then explain to them, hey, I don't want you to get sick and have to lay in bed for days and worry about you and you're not eating, and that's not good. We want to keep everybody strong and healthy. So make sure you got plenty of that sort of stuff laying around. The hand sanitizer. Make sure you got hydrogen peroxide, rubbing alcohol. That stuff is so cheap. It's just cheap, 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 cheap. There's no reason you could buy 4 or 5 bottles of hydrogen peroxide. I don't know what it might cost you, $1. I don't know. It's not very much. Even if it's $5, I mean, it's just good to have that stuff around, because again, during a shit hits the fan situation, you may not be able to go out and get it. So whatever you got on hand, is what you got. But again, try to avoid those things. Try to control the situation. Try to manage the situation. Create good habits. Like I said, everybody comes to the house, everybody washes their hands, right? And if you're working on somebody else, that's wounded or something, try to have plastic gloves on yourself and protect yourself from infection and stuff as well if you need to. Simple colds can turn into chest infections. Chest infections can turn into pneumonia, and then pneumonia can kill you. My brother got pneumonia real bad, wouldn't go to the doctor, didn't have health insurance. I was making a lot of money at the time. We were getting by all right, but, I finally said, you look like death. You just got this gray look about him. It took all of his energy to get him up, get him in my truck, take him down to the clinic, and of course, he had pneumonia. But what if we couldn't take him to the clinic? What if we didn't have antibiotics? That will kill you. So the thing is you want to avoid colds. You want to avoid things that are going to make you sick at all, because the little things turn into big bad things. Okay. So that should be a mantra: control and manage things. Okay. Here's another example: fire. Okay. You want to kind of know what heat sources there are around your house. You know, and teach people. You don't. When I was in the military, one of the things we did as dorm guards, you went around and you checked all the outlets at nighttime, usually a couple times, while everybody's sleeping. You didn't want a short or something to happen, or somebody to put something up against the outlet, might cause it to make some sort of contact, uh, or some device plugged into it causes it to overheat, draws too much current, and maybe the fuse doesn't blow, or somebody stuck in the wrong size fuse. So, you go around and check those things and make sure everything's looking good. Do that around your own house. I mean, what's generating heat around your house? If you looked around your house, how many outlets could you find? Okay, and then be able to say, okay, well, what's around that? Is it packed with a bunch of clothes and toilet paper, and is there stuff around there that could easily catch fire, perhaps? Uh, yeah, I'm in a division. I don't know what caused it. House probably 2 blocks away caught fire. And I'll come back to this. All right, pause it for a second. Hey folks, Steve Glenn here for BeSmartPrepping.com. I'm back. My sister called me last night. We were on the phone for almost 2 hours. And I just got super tired and just went to bed. We were talking about, excuse me, we were talking about a mantra that you want to have during shit hits the fan. That's to not let things get out of control. Don't let things get out of hand. Infections are one thing. Do not let them get out of hand. Stay on top of that. Stay on top of the hygiene for the kids, cuts, scrapes, that sort of stuff. Make sure you got hydrogen peroxide, rubbing alcohol if necessary. Uh, alcohol, uh, if you got some of that, vodka, gin, that sort of stuff, it's going to burn probably, but it's killing stuff. So keep that in mind. Along those lines, just a few other things related to that. Uh, um, make sure you've got plenty of fire extinguishers around. If phone services is down, if cell services are down, if emergency services are tied up with other things, it may be a while before they can get to where you're at. And if your house catches on fire or wherever you're at and all your stuff's there, you may not be able to get stuff out very quickly. Okay, so certainly keep an eye on things. Don't don't allow fire hazards to exist. Make sure you're not overdoing outlets. Make sure that if you're using fuses, they're all properly set. If you're using circuit breakers, they're properly set, properly sized, that type of thing. And have plenty of fire extinguishers around. I know it's a little bit, it can be a little bit pricey. Um, I had a guy that that cleaned out a building, and he ended up with, I don't know, it was probably over 100 fire extinguishers, and I bought like 20 from him, and I think I paid like $5 a piece for them. And normally they might have been like $30 or $40 extinguishers. So, and they're all commercial grade. They got the metal handles and they got the gauges and stuff on them. And I've had them for a few years now, and they're all showing that they're fully charged and ready to go. But have those things laying around at strategic locations around your house. Your bug out items, so that if anything does start up, that you've got something there to fight the fire pretty quickly. Okay, smoke alarms. Make sure that those things have got batteries in them and they're actually working. Um, don't let relationships get out of hand. Relationships with the people that you love. You're going to be under a lot of stress in these kinds of situations. You can, out of stress, you could say something that might be a little bit hurtful to somebody. And they may respond in kind with similar unkind words. And that affects, of course, your relationship with that person a little bit. Maintain that stuff. Have a forgiving spirit. Don't, somebody says something in a moment of stress, just don't worry about it, right? If anything, go up to the person and go, I understand, I love you, we're going to get through this, hang in there, I love you. And that's going to go a lot further than snapping back at somebody. It might be your first instinct, but it's not the thing to do. And some people have a hard time saying they're sorry for some reason. Get over it. Be able to say, "Hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I said that. I'm worried. I'm fearful. Whatever." Uh, Towards that end, make sure you've got your Bible around. Trust. We have to. If you have the Bible around and you are a Christian and you believe in the Bible, you trust in God. That He has a purpose for your life. And you read the Psalms. We see how great God is and how powerful He is and the extent of His love for us. Those things are going to quiet your spirit. They're going to quiet you internally. You're going to be able to address things easily. If your mind's not all, jittery and a flutter and you're not sleeping good and all this stuff, you're not going to be able to think as clearly as you would otherwise. So, figure out a way to let that go. Find a little quiet time. If you play an instrument, you can let a lot of that stress out, through expressing yourself through your instrument. Don't let relationships with neighbors get out of hand either. You try to help people out, and sometimes they can, because they haven't prepared at all, they become somewhat of a burden. Try to get them going. Try to teach them how to fish. Basically, don't just keep giving them fish and giving them fish. They'll become dependent upon you. And then when you don't supply them anymore, then they're going to start getting upset with you maybe a little bit. So you got to think about how to deal with it and deal with it in advance. Don't be nasty with them and critical, for them not being prepared. But try to help them get there, as quickly as they can. There may be some things that you don't have time for that they can do, and you can sort of become a little bit of a team. What I'm thinking of specifically is, maybe, maybe they've got a deer rifle. You can supply them with a little bit of ammo and say, "Hey, you go out and bag the deer, bring it back, and I'll help you butcher it up, and we'll have some meat for your family and mine." Or, "Hey, uh, I've got some fishing tackle. If you don't have some of that, I got a couple of fishing rods here. I'll let you borrow those. You go down to the lake down here, or the river down here, and you catch a bunch of fish. And you bring my gear back. You bring the fish back. We'll clean up all the fish. Have ourselves a little fish fry, and families all get something good to eat, some protein, and and you sort of work as a team." Now you're not out gathering food; they are. They're helping, themselves to a certain degree. So think of things in those terms. Look at ways to reduce stress. And again, the mantra should be: do not let things get out of hand. If you let things get out of hand, it's way more difficult to get them back under control than had you just been a little more thoughtful in the beginning. All right. So that ends this video blog. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, if you thought it was interesting, helpful, insightful, subscribe, click the like button down below, and we'll have more of these available for you. All right. Thanks. Take care. God bless.